Nigel St. Stephen. The bishop wants to know why Max Tudor has once again become involved in murder, and when it's all going to stop. Lucas Coombridge. A famous seascape artist living in Monkslip, Curry, Lucas may once again hold a clue to a baffling murder. Shine on the Poor Girl's Grave. The Crossroads. Robert Southey. Part 1. Absent in the Spring. Chapter 1. Now You See It. Lord Duxter had always disliked card tricks. He detested everything to do with magic, actually. Rabbits pulled from hats, women sawn in half, the whole sleight-of-hand nonsense. But in particular, and mostly, he disliked card tricks. To him, tricks and magic and all that sort of thing were the hobbies of a 12-year-old boy, one of stunted emotional development at that. A grown man should have outgrown such childish pastimes. But Colin Frost had not. Oh no, not he. It summed him up, this idiotic interest, which Colin insisted on regarding as some sort of skill set. The specialty of a highly trained artist emerged from his magician's cave after years of study and practice to bore the world with his pick-a-card trickeries. It didn't matter to Lord Duxter that he could never figure out the trick. He did not regard that as a commentary on his intelligence. It was more that he didn't care how it was done. One had to care, somehow. He saw it as a sort of social mask Colin hid behind, something to hide the fact that he had no conversation, at least none that would interest any sane person. Colin dealt in software and computers and God knew what all forms of geekery. Apps, for God's sake. He was always on about the latest apps. He was a cybersecurity expert with skills ostensibly much in demand. The magic tricks was simply an extension of his preference for dealing with numbers and things rather than engaging with people. Lord Duxter blamed the mother. She had been much the same way as Colin, and the whole village knew it. Cold as ice she'd been, and Netta, the grandmother. No doubt she was the prototype for the mother. A cold fish if ever one swam in the small social pond of the Monkslip villages. It was odd, Lord Duxter reflected. On the surface, Colin had everything going for him. Still only in his 30s, he had a high IQ, or at least mathematical ability, if not what one might call actual intelligence, a good, slender physique, and a handsome, if rather blank, countenance, rather like an Easter Island statue. You could read him as profound or stupid. Take your pick. None of these qualities, however, added up to having a personality, that spark of life that lit a man from within. Colin was, in fact, a good-looking dolt, rather naive and pliable, a man of modest accomplishments married to a woman of stunning ordinariness. Look at her now, in a frock at least 2 sizes too big and thick-soled shoes a decade out of style, if they'd ever been in style. They were the kind of shoes one wore if one were worried about a stack of bricks landing on one's toes at any moment. Jane could have been 25 or 40, but Lord Duxter knew she had just celebrated her 30th birthday. Her eyes behind the oversized, rose-tinted lenses conveyed intelligent awareness, so much so that, compared with her husband, at least, she was a dynamo. She was doing a good and meticulous job sorting the books and albums and other materials that had been discovered by a maid clearing out the attic not long before. Lord Duxter knew he was underpaying Jane Frost and resolved to do something about that, soon. Quite soon. No one had ever accused Lord Duxter of being a tightwad, not even his wife, who had accused him of many things. He hired the best and was willing to pay for the best, a lesson he'd learned watching his father penny-pinch over the years with disastrous result. He was also known for his philanthropic impulses, which had earned him an OBE for services to charity and publishing. His little joke was that given the slim profit margins in publishing these days, the whole publishing scene was tantamount to running a charity. But in fact, the writers' retreats he sponsored, in which he threw open the doors of his home to struggling authors for up to a month, were what had brought him to the notice of the Queen. He was an incubator for talent, of which he was enormous.